Hi everybody, it's Jim. Welcome to the channel. I am doing some reflection this month and I'm also projecting into next year. I like this time of year, December, a holiday season. I like to look back on all the books I read this year, things I thought about, things I created, and then I try to set some intentions for the next year. And that's what this video is about, looking ahead to 2026. What's on my mind? Where do I want to take the channel? How much is the channel going to stay the same? What are some new wrinkles, some new features I want to add to the channel? So let me talk about what I want to continue doing on this channel. And I appreciate everyone who watches and comments. It's very rewarding to reach out to you and to get feedback from you. And I appreciate you. I'm going to keep doing book reviews as I, go along. I'm going to be continuing with my Great Books of the Western World 10-year reading plan. I'm still in year one. It's going to take longer than a year to get through year one, but who's counting? Who's keeping time? That's fun. That's just a big reading list of selections from the great books. So I'm going to definitely do that. And that's just a small part of this channel, but I'm going to do that. As terms of book hauls and unhaul videos, yeah, I'll still do book hauls. Projecting into the future, I'm probably not going to hit the library sales as much as I used to. I hit the wall last year. With that, I had a great massive book haul last February at the Unionville High School book sale, and I do plan to go back to that one. But some of the other library sales, I'm going to be a lot more selective, and even last year I dialed that back. It's not enough bang for the buck lately. But will I be able to resist the urge to go to library sales? Probably not, but I'm just not going to do as many as I used to. On-haul videos, definitely. So I'm always looking to purge, to curate, to call the herd. So I think that makes for topics of interesting discussion, like why am I getting rid of this book, and so forth. I'm always going to be hitting the little libraries in my neighborhood too, the little free libraries. And I love to scout those. So most of the book haul videos will probably be about those discoveries. Food for thought videos. This is a playlist I set up. You can think of it as like a little series. This is more of like big ideas types of things, not even big ideas, just ideas, and sometimes just opinions, but just things that are on my mind based on what I'm reading or stuff that's going on in the culture. But mostly it's derived from the books I'm reading. And those I do plan to continue. There's no list of topics for that. That is just completely random. It's like if a spark ignites, then I make a video about it. Or I come across a passage in a book, I'll make a video about it. So stay tuned for some more food for thought videos. What about shorts? I'm not good at shorts. I just think it feeds the short attention spans that we all are suffering from. That being said, again, if inspiration strikes and I want to just do a little short, I'll make a short. I can imagine maybe doing shorts about books I'm actively reading, or hey, I just finished this book, and then here's the book. Or it could be here's a book I'm unhauling, or here's a book I just got from a little free library. I've done some posts about that. So posts and shorts, they might play a small role, but I don't really think about shorts a whole lot. And yeah, that's what that is. How about adventures in book collecting? Sure, I do like to talk about my own book collection. I would like to feature more of these volumes. I want to talk about various publishers like Penguin Classics, like Heritage Press, like Franklin Library, and so on. So you can expect to see some more videos about that kind of thing. I'd like to do walkthrough videos. I will be continuing with my Great Ideas Today series where we walk through those volumes and talk about the annual articles that were written each year. I do like to do that. Book designs too. I like to show you cover art that I like, or just typography and print designs that I think are really special or nostalgic. Leather-bound copies, that kind of thing. Vintage paperbacks is another thing I'm interested in. So as I come across those, or I find stuff on the shelves, I will feature some of that. Let's talk about some new directions for the channel, which might happen. One thing I'd like to do is add some more lecture style content. So I have been teaching for over 25 years. I'm currently only teaching online, so it's like kind of getting into semi-retirement territory. But so I'm looking backward on like the lit classes I used to teach and that sort of thing. And I've got a lot of stuff. I have a lot of lecture notes, not all of which translate very easily to YouTube video format. So it's a real challenge. It's a puzzle for me. I have to engineer, like, how is that going to be transformed? Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like building a new circuit or something. But it's like I would like to translate some of that material and create more standalone videos about particular books or authors or periods or genres or whatever. And I need to work on that. I want to work on that. I have a couple ideas, and we'll see where that goes. It could be fun. It could be a fun way to reconnect to my past, where I'm like reintegrating it, recontextualizing this stuff that I don't do as much anymore, but I still want to share with people. That impulse to teach is still there, and it's also a writing challenge. So I am a writer, and I have a Substack and a Medium page, which I haven't done much with lately, but the Substack I'm more active on. And I feel like some of the stuff that I do in preparation for these videos can cross over and find a home on Substack or Medium. And I like to think about how one feeds the other. It's like a synergy. Sometimes the video script comes first, or the video notes. Sometimes I'll write something for Substack and then cross it over to this channel. But what I'm saying with the lecture type stuff is I want things to be in the form of maybe a video essay, or something that's more like a lecture that you'd see in a classroom or something. It's a challenge, because once you pull something out of the classroom context, you're not thinking about assignments anymore. You're just thinking about trying to present the information and the knowledge as best you can. But it's a nice creative challenge for me, so we'll see how that goes. I would like to maybe do more videos, and this is more in the book review category, but like I would call them "What Makes It Great" videos. So you may be familiar with the popular YouTube content creator Rick Beato. He talks about music, and one thing he does that I really like is what makes it great. So he'll take a song that he loves, he'll say, here's what makes that song great. And he does a deep dive and pulls it apart and analyzes it and so forth. I think we could do some of that on this channel for poems, for song lyrics, which I've consider to be a type of poetry. We could do it for short stories, could do it for full-length books, which gets you into the lecture territory too. So this kind of crosses over. So we'll see what happens with that. Also, I'm toying with the idea of, I don't know what to call these. You could call them slow reads, close reads, read-alongs, where I'm working my way through a book and I might be going chapter by chapter or part by part. And one intention I have for next year, just personally, is I want to get better at annotation, taking notes on what I'm reading. So if I get better at that, the natural outflow would be to make videos that are stepping through these books and doing maybe a little bit richer, deep dive exploration of them. I wouldn't do it for every book, but there's some books that want that kind of attention. I've thought about stepping back into the podcasting waters too. There could be a facet of this channel that is more podcast-like in nature, something that you would just listen to, not necessarily need to watch. I pretty much want to stay just on YouTube though, so anything I do in that direction would show up here first. And it could also be posted on the Substack. So we'll see what happens with that, but I'm envisioning possibly, and this is unlikely, but hey, think big, right? This is the time of year for that. Maybe doing interviews with authors, writers, poets, people in the publishing world. Who knows? Like this could be, or scholars too, interviewing scholars and professors, people who write history or write about literature and philosophy. And there could be also monologues that it's just me doing sort of essayistic type of stuff. But a lot of that just ends up here on the channel anyway. So the lines between these categories are pretty blurry. I'm also entertaining the idea of maybe doing some original tag videos, so stay tuned for that. I am in the early stages of brainstorming that, but that could be a lot of fun if I do it the right way. One idea I kind of had that I'm playing with is a little bit related to this what makes it great type of concept. So let's say you take a song, a popular song that most everyone knows, and I saw a song I love, and we'll analyze the song as a lyric primarily, and then we can use that as a prompt for talking about like what books or stories or poems does this song or text make you think of? What do you associate with it? Something on the same theme? And that could get some interesting neurons firing here and about. But I'm going to try it. It might flame out and not work. Let me know in the comments like what you think of these ideas. But that's something that I came up with that I think might have some potential. And this all relates to something that I wanted to do more of in 2025, and I only did a little bit of it, which was to get back into my musical habit. I'm a drummer. I play some guitar. I play keyboard, mostly self-taught on these things. I did take drum lessons for a little while, but I write songs and do home recordings and that kind of thing. So occasionally I've been able to sneak some of my instrumental music like into videos. I'd like to do a little bit more of that. And there's other like YouTube properties that will be more dedicated to music, but I don't need to talk about those here. But for the BookTube channel, I think I'd like to just produce some of my own soundtrack music and share it with you. in some subtle ways. And maybe talking a little bit about song lyrics as poetry might give me an excuse to share of that side of myself a little bit more. Also, something that I've thought about for a couple years now, and I'm not sure there's a taste for it amongst the audience, so let me know. And this would be read alouds. So basically, I like to read aloud. Like I really enjoy it just for myself. It helps me to pay attention to. I mean, I don't read all my books that way, but sometimes if my attention's wavering, I will just read aloud the book that I'm reading. And I've made audio recordings of stuff like that before. And sometimes I think, well, maybe there's an audience for that. Maybe there's some people who would like to read along with the book or hear it while they're exercising or going for a walk, walking the dog, or doing their laundry. Like, let me know if you're interested in that sort of thing. That crosses over into the podcasting, more audio type of audio style content. That's more or less where I'm at with that. Now, let me talk about just in my own reading life, because a lot of people are making forecasting videos, like looking ahead. Here's my reading projects. Here's what I'm going to be doing in 2026. All right, first let me look back. 2025, aside from the 10-year reading plan that I started, which again, I'm going at a casual pace. It's not a Marshall pace there at all. The only thing that would maybe qualify as a reading project or reading event that I really did was I read all of Marcel Proust in Search of Lost Time. It took me about 6.5, 7 months. And loved that experience. But that started from another booktuber who was, creating a reading event, and a couple booktubers. And I had the newer translations of Proust that I had gathered the previous year, and I wanted to read them, so that gave me an excuse to do it. And that was basically the only project that I did. But the intention for 2026, my project for 2026, is to have no projects. I just want to follow my wanderlust as much as possible. And yes, there's some broad things that I sort of incline myself towards, like the 10-year reading plan. I'm working my way through the great books of the Western world. I'm sort of interested right now in 20th century fiction and filling in gaps, like authors that I haven't read as much before. So but there's no fixed list. The other thing I might mention, the 20th century fiction made me think of this, is I also want to reread books more. That is an intention where I want to change the ratio of new to me versus books I've already read and I want to reread. I want the number of books I'm rereading to come into balance, because I find that to be super rewarding. The books that I have reread, and some of these 10-year reading plan texts are that. It's very rewarding to come back to them, and I want more of that. But there is no list. I can't show you the books I want to reread. The books I want to reread, or the brand new books that I want to read, I'm just going to let the universe decide. Like serendipity, randomness, hunches, get into a flow state. We'll find out. We'll find out what happens. I just want to liberate myself and not crack the whip. I just really want to be free to, pursue my wanderlust. Because I don't want this channel is a hobby for me. I really enjoy it. I find it great for self-expression. It keeps me reading, but I don't want it to feel like a chore. I don't want it to feel like a job. So the solution to that is to read what you want to read at your own pace, on your own time. Don't always feel compelled to make a video about everything you read, and just go from there. That is my looking ahead to 2026, some of my intentions. What do you think of that? Like, let me know in the comments, what are your plans for 2026? Are you setting up some reading projects? Are you going to go with the flow? Let me know. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you'll stick around with me next year. I have a lot of cool things coming your way, I hope. I want to get better at making videos too, so that's another intention. Bye-bye.